During the deliberation, only the board members who participated in the grievance hearing should be present. Neither the complainants nor the assessor may be present. The only exception is the municipal attorney, who may be called in to address any legal questions the board has. Here, the board will deliberate on each of the cases we previously heard. They begin with the complainant who disputed the assessment on his residential property.
Okay, let's begin with the case of Mr. Jones.
Now, I think Mr. Jones actually did a pretty good job. He had a wide number of comps, but I do think he was a little too selective. The assessor gave us a wider array of more appropriate sales.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But looking at those sale prices, all of them were not as high as his assessment. So while I don't exactly agree with his numbers, I can understand where he's coming from. I think what threw him off, though, was that statement that he presented from the bank.
That's a good point. He may have thought that was good evidence, but it's simply so outdated that it does not support his value. I think we should take another look at the comparable sales.
After further deliberation, the chairperson recommends lowering the assessment, but not to the amount the complainant requested. The majority of the members agree. Next, the board discusses the complainant who felt he could not afford an increase in his taxes.
Okay, let's begin the case of Mr. Cunningham.
This one's pretty cut and dry. He had no case. He provided no evidence, at least nothing relevant. The assessment should remain unchanged.
But I can't blame him for being upset that his assessment went up so high. It's still the same house, and he's paying even more. It should qualify for some relief.
I'm not saying I don't feel sorry for the guy, but we can't lower an assessment based on hardship. If he pays less, someone else pays more.
You're right. We have to be objective with each case. From what we have from the assessor, it appears that she gave him a fair value on his property. Whether or not he can afford to pay the taxes is irrelevant. I believe that this assessment should stay the same.
Finally, the board discusses the complainant who contested the assessment on his apartment building.
When we last spoke to Mr. Collins, he promised to give us the questionnaire that he had failed to originally provide to the assessor. In reviewing his documentation, though, I don't find any evidence that would support a reduction in his assessment. Perhaps we should review all of the evidence again.
The board now proceeds to record their vote in public.